Welcome at a boring history for sleep. Like, comments, and subscribe.
Imagine, if you will, that you are standing in a place where the movement of time has simply paused. Around you, there is no noise, no crowds, only an endless snow-dusted horizon where the earth meets the sky. This is the vast, rolling expanse of the Eurasian steppe, the ancient landscape of Russia. Have you ever sensed that behind the turbulent history of wars and upheavals lies a quieter story, one intended only for those seeking true rest? Tonight, we leave the clamor of historical events behind and sink into the depths of this land, where only the soft rustle of falling snow and the steady rhythmic flow of ancient rivers remain. Close your eyes, let your thoughts grow light, and join me in this journey. This is not history to be studied. This is history meant to help you sleep. The foundations of Russia were not built upon iron or stone, but upon the silent waterways that snaked through deep, primeval forests. The Russia we see on maps today was, in the ancient world, a quiet collection of timber dwellings nestled among vast, dark woods. Imagine yourself as a traveler in the 10th century, drifting down the Volga River in a small wooden boat. Around you is a sea of pine and birch, a landscape that produces a soft, humming music with every passing breeze. Here, life was governed entirely by the sun, the rising of the light and the slow, inevitable approach of the evening. These people, known as the Rus, were true followers of nature. They had no inkling that their name would one day define a vast empire. Their concerns were simple, grounded, and rhythmic. The preparation for the coming harvest and the endurance of the long, harsh winters. Can you feel the chill of those winters? The way the world went quiet, the way the smoke from the hearth curled into the crisp air while snow blanketed the earth in absolute silence? The history of this era is not found in grand monuments, but in the ashes of those simple hearths. As we drift further along the river of time, we come to the settlements of Novgorod and Kiev. These were not the bustling, neon-lit cities of the modern world. They were places where time seemed to expand and stretch. When the bells of the wooden churches echoed through the mist, they were not declarations of conflict, but invitations to a deep, spiritual stillness. The life of a peasant during this time was like a book with pages turned by the wind. They were people bound to the soil. Their days were defined by a repetition that is, in itself, deeply soothing. The tilling of the earth, the gathering of grain, the patient waiting for the spring thaw. Does this repetition sound mundane? Perhaps that is the secret of its beauty. This part of history is filled with a kind of peace that is impossible to find in our hurried, modern lives. As we move toward the end of this first chapter, realize that Russia's true strength was never found in the swords of its princes, but in the patience of its land. The earth, which endures the changing of the seasons, which preserves life beneath the frozen crust of winter, and which welcomes the spring with unfailing hope. This land is like a mother, cradling the secrets of centuries in a long, deep slumber. Let these thoughts drift away from your mind now, like footprints in the snow that soften and fade with the passing hours. You are safe here in this ancient, quiet Russia. Each word is a deep breath, and every sentence is a valley where you can rest your weary mind. Feel the fog of time wrapping around you, and let yourself dissolve into these old, quiet stories. Everything here is still. Everything here is silent. Are you still here with me? In the first part of our journey, we wandered through wooden settlements and along hushed, winding rivers. Now, we step into an era where those simple dwellings have given way to golden domes and grand, sprawling palaces. But remember this: no matter how magnificent the palace, the landscape beyond its windows remains the same ancient, tranquil Russia. As you peer out from the Imperial Gallery, that endless, snow-covered plain calls you back to your true self. Let us now drift into the soft, shimmering waves of this golden age. The Russia of the Tsars was a world defined by the interplay of light and shadow. Whether it was the palaces of St. Petersburg or the ornate churches of Moscow, every structure was built to reach toward the vastness of the sky. Yet, even amidst this grandeur, there was a profound and haunting sense of isolation. Imagine yourself in a high, vaulted room where candles flicker against gold leaf walls, yet beyond the heavy velvet curtains, there is nothing but an endless white expanse of snow. This is where the quietude of history reaches its peak. Even within the imperial courts, the pace of life remained slow. The rulers of the empire, surrounded by all the wealth of the world, often longed for the simplicity of a distant village, to sit by a window, sip tea, and watch the horizon. This contrast is woven into the very soul of Russia. On one side, the pride of power; on the other, the overwhelming, humbling silence of the natural world. History here flows like a dream. We see the rise of a prince, the creation of a masterpiece, the passing of a legend, but these are merely small ripples on a vast, still lake. The true image is the Russian earth itself, which absorbs all these events and remains unchanged. Does it not calm your spirit to think that thousands of years ago, people walked this same soil, looked at the same vast sky, and felt the same weight of the world, only to eventually find their rest? This imperial era, for all its vibrant colors, was always characterized by a certain melancholy and peace. It is like a melody where a single haunting note is played repeatedly, and that gentle repetition is exactly what you need to drift into the deepest sleep. The library of history is closing its books now. The lights in the palace are dimming to a soft, warm glow. The vast fields outside, which have carried the burden of centuries, are finally resting. Your journey is coming to an end. You have traveled from the ancient forested rivers to the heights of the imperial palaces, but the true destination was always the stillness you found along the way. History is a long, winding dream, and you are now reaching its softest edges. Breathe slowly, keep your eyes gently closed, and feel how time has come to a complete, beautiful stop. This land, these snow-covered plains, and this quiet history have become nothing more than a faint, comforting memory. Sleep now. Everything is at peace.
Disclaimer: while the historical accounts detailed here are grounded in rigorous research, we have integrated AI generated imagery to provide a vivid window into the past. Please note that these visuals are intended as creative interpretation rather than precise historical documentation. Our primary objective is to offer an engaging, immersive educational journey through history.